Imagine a legendary musician boldly declaring another icon as the absolute least talented person in the entire music world. That's the shocking verdict Lou Reed once delivered about Frank Zappa, sparking endless debates among fans and critics alike. But here's where it gets controversial. Was this just brutal honesty from a sharp-tongued rebel, or was it fueled by deeper rivalries and personal grudges? Let's dive into the story to uncover the truth. Lou Reed wasn't exactly known for his warm and fuzzy personality. He was more like a prickly desert plant than a cuddly teddy bear. His comments often cut like a knife, full of biting sarcasm and unfiltered opinions, much like how some might view unconventional health trends, strange at first glance, but perhaps with a hidden purpose. As one of music's true trailblazers, Reed thrived on being an outsider right from the start. His groundbreaking band, the Velvet Underground, revolutionized rock with their innovative sound and provocative themes, yet they only reached a modest peak at number 171 on the charts. This low commercial success fit Reed perfectly, allowing him to position himself as a cultural renegade, perched on the fringes of society and freely criticizing anyone he saw as lagging behind the cutting edge of artistic evolution. If someone stuck to safe, cliched ideas instead of pushing boundaries, they were fair game for his wrath. He didn't hold back on major acts like the Beatles or the Doors, and even took a swing at a supporter like David Bowie, literally once punching him. So, it was no surprise that Reed turned his critique toward a fellow eccentric from the underground scene, unleashing a torrent of harsh words that painted Zappa as utterly worthless. In a 1973 interview where he shared thoughts on other musicians, Reed launched this verbal grenade. "He's probably the single most untalented person I've heard in my life." He didn't stop there, adding layers to his attack by calling Zappa two-bit, pretentious, academic, and he can't play his way out of anything. He can't play rock and roll because he's a loser. And that's why he dresses up funny. He's not happy with himself, and I think he's right. Yet, despite the venom, Reed and Zappa shared striking similarities. They were both mavericks who defied norms in their own ways. While Reed marched to the beat of Avant-Garde rebellion, Zappa zigzagged through musical experiments that were even more quirky and unpredictable. Zappa's style wasn't your typical rock star defiance. It was wildly offbeat, like claiming not to like the Beatles, but still praising them for crafting at least 3 brilliant tracks, including I Am the Walrus as one of his favorites. This mutual edge-pushing made them mirror images of the same rare coin, but opposites on its faces, leading to inevitable tension. Both dared to explore taboo topics that shocked audiences, from drug culture to social satire, causing their work to flop initially before finally gaining recognition. The Velvet Underground rose from obscurity, and Zappa became a guitar hero symbolizing ironic freedom. Their clash felt like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and a full-blown feud erupted. It reportedly kicked off in 1966 when the Velvet Underground performed in Los Angeles as part of Andy Warhol's artistic troupe, the Exploding Plastic Inevitable. Zappa, already a major figure in the West Coast avant-garde scene, reportedly made a mocking remark about the band's creative crew, which included Warhol's factory stars. This irritation grew because both groups were under the same label, MGM, but Zappa got far more promotional push, stoking jealousy. Reed fired back early, declaring before his later magazine comments, "Frank Zappa is the most untalented musician I've ever heard," and adding, "He can't play rock and roll because he's a loser." Velvet Underground guitarist Sterling Morrison chimed in with a wild claim. "If you told Frank Zappa to eat shit in public, he'd do it if it sold records, though he clarified he'd only do it if I liked to." This sparked a false rumor that Zappa actually ate feces on stage, which he didn't. In fact, Zappa rarely spoke ill of rivals directly. As Jimmy Carl Black, a bandmate in Zappa's Mothers of Invention, reflected, "I don't remember Zappa actually putting them down on stage, but he might have. He really disliked the band. For what reasons I really don't know, except that they were junkies and Frank just couldn't tolerate any kind of drugs. I know that I didn't feel that way, and neither did the rest of the Mothers. I thought that they were very good, especially Nico, whom I secretly fell in love with, or was it lust?" He added, I especially thought that Mo was a very good drummer because in those days I don't recall there being any other female drummers on the scene. The thinking of the audiences was completely different than those from New York City. They were lukewarmly received. Over time, the animosity faded. Reed later honored Zappa by inducting him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame after his death, suggesting evolving perspectives. However, Velvet Underground member John Cale remained skeptical, saying in 1994, "Zappa isn't really interested in music, he's using music for animation." To be fair, Zappa wasn't obsessed with rock. He admired classical composers like Bela Bartok, but his commitment to music as art was undeniable. Interestingly, Zappa softened toward Reed's band too. He featured their songs on radio shows and called them authentic, appreciating their raw depiction of New York life, even if their drug references bothered his sober stance. The real issue might have been the harrowing glamorized world around Warhol, not the group itself. Reed retorted in his characteristic style, highlighting their clashing yet parallel paths, like characters in a psychological drama clashing for reasons buried deep in their psyches, only finding peace later. And this is the part most people miss. Their feud wasn't just petty bickering. It underscored how innovation in music often breeds conflict among pioneers. But was Reed's label fair, or just a way to mask insecurity? Some argue Zappa's experimental genius deserved praise, while others see Reed's critique as a defense of rock soul. What do you think? Did Reed cross the line, or was he spot on? Was this rivalry a sign of creative tension we need more of today, or just old-school drama? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear if you side with Reed, Zappa, or neither.